The Buffalo Bills had their first game of the regular season yesterday at Highmark Stadium versus the Arizona Cardinals. And admittedly, they came out slow. Down 17-3 at one point. And but then they came back for the victory and pulled it out in the end. On the offensive side of the ball, Josh Allen just played a magnificent game. On one play, he did hold the ball too long, looking for the open receiver, and ended up taking a sack and a fumble. But other than that, and maybe the dump-off pass to Ty Johnson was a little low, and long pass to MVS wasn't quite on target. But other than that, I mean, just an amazing game. Those three plays, that's all I can think of. Because he was running all over the place and throwing strikes and just having a fantastic game. And the mentality of everybody eats was definitely on display because we had receivers with 3 catches or 2 catches or 3 catches. And that's the way we want to spread the ball around. Dawson Knox had a nice touchdown. Or not touchdown, but a nice strike down the middle. Shakir had a beautiful touchdown run with Deion Dawkins bringing out the snowplow to knock, I think it might have been Budda Baker, knocking him down the field for like 10 yards. And Shakir said after the game that he was in awe from that. I was watching, then he had to remember he had the ball. And he pulled off another just amazing run to get into the end zone. He had another play earlier in the game where he bounced off a guy and ran down the field. So Shakir is just a great player for us. Keon Coleman had a long catch. Curtis Samuel had a beautiful screen pass that he took downfield. I like seeing him line up in the backfield a couple times. You know, I really like this mentality of everybody eats. Ray Davis, he had a nice catch too and a nice run. So, you know, everybody eats. Everybody eats. So anyway, the only thing that really need to work on the offense is those pre-snap penalties. Those penalties, and there were a couple after the snap too, but the pre-snap ones are really just killers. I mean, we can't have those false starts. We can't have those penalties, and it was across the line. I think everybody might have had one, but we can't have those. We've got to work on that. And over to the defensive side of the ball, the defense admittedly struggled a little bit in the first half. That's why we fell down 17-3. And I think part of that may have really been Johnson getting injured. Now, Cam Lewis came in and played a great game, but Johnson and Lewis are just different players. I mean, they're different human beings. So when you have to substitute a guy that thought he was going to be playing the backup dime position or play the dime position during the game, then he has to come in and take over at the nickel in the slot. And then then Ingram has to come in and play the dime position. I mean, it moves things around, and coaches have to decide, after getting their whole game plan together. In the very first drive, Johnson went down with an arm injury. And, I mean, it's bad enough that you're losing a player that's probably one of the best, if not the best, nickel corners in the game, period. But then you have to just have a substitution player for him. And again, Cam played a fantastic game. I think he had 9 tackles. But you're changing the scheme around and things. And that's why I think in the second half, after they had time to talk about it, just a few minutes that you have at halftime, they made those adjustments, and the defense came out and played a much better game in the second half. They had trouble stopping the run in the first half, but I had told you James Conner is a good running back. And as a cancer survivor, I have been a fan of James Conner because he had cancer when he was in college. And that guy can play. He's a baller. So over to the defensive side, more on the defensive side of the ball, Ingram, just fantastic game for him to come in. Made the play at the end. And Coach McDermott made it sound like he wasn't even going to be on the active game day roster this week, that until Smoot got hurt. And when Smoot got hurt, then they decided to go with Ingram to have an extra corner. And boy, I'm glad they did, because, again, with Johnson going down, we needed that extra corner. And at the end of the game, when push came to shove, Ingram made the play. I know some people thought it was pass interference. Whatever, man. He had him covered. I'll back Ingram all the way on that. That was beautiful coverage. So, defense, happy with the way they played, more in the second half than the first half, obviously. Boy, would be remiss if I didn't bring up Greg Rousseau. I saw somewhere that there was a betting line that I don't gamble, but that if he had 6 sacks on the season, you would win. Dude had three yesterday, including a fumble, one that caused a fumble. So awesome, Greg Rousseau, keep it up. Interior line, didn't see much out of them. Did see Daquan Jones did get his hands up and knock down a pass. I think Epinesa might have got his hand on a pass too over there on the other end, and Von Miller got one of the sacks. So yeah, good game by the defense. Good game by the offense. The offense really only had one punt that they had to take. So Sam Martin got a bit of a day off. And then we go over to the special teams. Speaking of special teams. Yeah, I have been a big Coach Smiley fan, but things better turn around quick because he's on a hot seat. Giving up a kick return for a touchdown. I know there's this new rules and things, but we got to figure it out because we can't be giving up kick returns for a touchdown. We might as well kick it into the end zone every time. Bass ought to be able to do that. And then at the end of the game, when we need to start them way back, we kick it out of bounds and they get it up at the 40. I mean, we can't do that stuff on special teams. It happened to the Marv Levy days when special teams was our high point of our team. We took it on as 1/3 emphasis of our team. It didn't look good with those 2 plays at least. Bass did kick the field goals and he made them. So good on that. But those 2 kickoffs, yeah. So, coming out of the game, Karen did have the arm injury, and Josh Allen did hurt his wrist. It's his non-throwing hand. They said he is good to go on Thursday. Schmoot will not be playing on Thursday, but we'll get more into that stuff with the game versus the Fish on Thursday in another video. As far as autographs at the game, only got 1 autograph this time, and it is of offensive lineman Mike Edwards, and he said, "Oh wow, you got a picture." Yeah, and Mike is on the practice squad, and the one thing I can say about Mike Edwards is he is massive. I mean, even though he doesn't make it on the offensive line, we might want to look him at defensive tackle. And this guy is just huge, and you can see he's got a great smile too, great facial recognition there. So, very happy with the Bills game, and I want to find a quick picture here to show you from the preseason game, and here it is, and it was put in sportsillustrated.com, si.com, and that is a picture of me getting an autograph after the game from Buffalo Joe Andreessen. Joe Andreessen, what a great story, grew up a Buffalo Bills fan, lives in the Buffalo area, and now plays linebacker for the Bills. He did not play in this game. He was one of the healthy scratches. Speaking of that, I'm not sure why Ryan Vandermark was listed as a healthy scratch. Maybe they felt like Alec Anderson, being the guy that was going to be the tackle eligible, could move into that. Don't want to get too much into the officiating either, but I thought it was horrid. Really on both sides. And fans yelling while the Bills have the ball still needs to be fixed. You know, my arms are going to get tired doing this the whole game. But met a couple of fans of the YouTube page. I was giving out little buttons. So if you see me at the game, make sure to stop me and say hi. Maybe I'll have a Pops Mafia button for you as well. So until the next video, until our next game coming up again on Thursday night versus the Dolphins, the Fish, I say, go Bills, and always remember, God loves you, and so do I.